Good day, children. Welcome to the next class of chemistry. Today we are going to begin with the lesson 7, which is metallurgy. Now, what exactly do you mean by metallurgy? Metallurgy literally means extraction of the metal from its ore. Now, what exactly is extraction? What is an ore? How do we go about it? Before that, we must know what metals are. We will come to the extraction and the various steps involved a little later. First, you just learn about what are metals. Now, you already know, I had told you earlier also, that there are 118 elements which are known to us. Now, out of these elements, there are a few which are metals, and while there are others which are non-metals. Metals are the ones, those who have either 1 or 2 or 3 electrons in the valence shell. The ones which have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 electrons in the valence shell, they are non-metals. Alright, out of these also, the ones which have 4 electrons in the outermost shell, they are known as metalloids. Oids means like. They are like metals. So they are called metalloids. Their properties, for example, metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metalloids are also conductors, but not as nice as metals. So they are called metalloids. They are also called semiconductors like silica or gallium or germanium. They are known as metalloids because they are like metals but not exactly like them. Then we have those who have 8 electrons in the valence shell, and they are known as noble gases. Noble or inert gases. Gases because they exist in the gaseous state, and inert and noble you already know because they do not mingle with other elements. They don't interact or they do not bond with any other element. That is why they are called noble gases. Out of this entire group, we are going to study about metals in this particular chapter. So basically you know that these are the elements, those who have 1, 2 or 3 electrons. Now because they have this number of electrons in the valence shell, they always lose electrons to acquire stability. Now when they lose electrons, they acquire a positive charge. So they are also called electropositive in nature. Metals are electropositive in nature. It is not that metals are very new to man. Man has known metals for a very long time. Copper was the first metal which was used by man for making utensils, weapons and other purposes. And then metals like gold and silver, copper, lead, tin, etc., antimony and mercury, they have been known to mankind from ancient times. So metals are widely used in our daily life for a large number of purposes. They are used for making jewelry, for coins, for utensils, for furniture, for making heavy machinery, tools, transportation, etc. So they are used in a number of ways. Now, how do these metals occur in nature? Occurrence. We are talking about the occurrence of metals. Now, these metals are very, very important. Important means they are very, very reactive. Metals are very highly reactive. Because they are reactive, they will combine with almost anything which is existing in their periphery. Whatever they are existing with, they will combine with it and they will exist in the combined state. Combined state means they exist along with other elements. The combined states of metals are known as minerals. They are known as minerals. Minerals literally also means anything which is mined out from the earth. Mined out means dug out from the earth. Mined out from earth. So yes, they are mined out from the earth and they are the combined states of metals. Now any metal can exist in more than one form. For example, let's take the example of say zinc. Zinc is a metal. It can exist in nature as zinc oxide. It can exist as zinc carbonate. It can also exist as zinc sulfide. Now all three forms of zinc are referred to as minerals. All of them are minerals. But out of the three, if you want to obtain the metal zinc, which one will give you the metal most profitably? Most profitably. What do you mean by profitably? Profitably means you have to give less of input. That means the expenses are less, the effort is less, and the amount of metal which you obtain is quite a lot. So that is known as, that is a most profitable mineral. Now that mineral out of which the metal can be most profitably extracted, that is known as ore. Ore. What is an ore? Ore is a mineral from which the metal can be most profitably extracted. And what is a mineral? Mineral is a combined state of any metal. Are minerals and ores the same? No, they are not the same. Now, relating to this, there is a statement which is used that all ores are minerals because they are the combined state, but all minerals are not ores. Okay, all minerals cannot be used to extract the metal profitably, but whichever ore we are selecting, it is definitely a combined state of a metal, so it is called a mineral. Alright, now you already know about the physical properties of metals. Metals, what they have some luster, they have a high melting boiling point, their density is high, they are very ductile, malleable, they are not brittle, they are good conductors of heat and electricity, they have a high tensile strength, they are hard, sonorous, insoluble in water, and they can form alloys. So these are some properties which you have already studied earlier. Alright, I am not going to repeat them. I am strictly limiting myself to the reduced syllabus of metallurgy. So there might be many other things given in the book, but you will stick yourself to what I am doing. Alright. Now I will tell you a little bit about metallurgy, but before that all these terms should be clear to you. So first of all, what is metallurgy? Metallurgy refers to the various steps which are followed to extract a metal. To extract a metal from its ore. What all do we have to do to get a metal from its ore? Collectively all those steps are referred to as metallurgy. We will talk about the steps a little later, but just understand the meaning of metallurgy. Then I think you already know about the mineral. You also know about the ore. And then I would also tell you one term which is called matrix. Matrix basically refers to the impurities which are associated with the mineral. See, when you are mining out something from the earth, when you are digging out something from the earth, a lot of impurities like sand, mud, other twigs of the branches, dried up leaves, there are so many other things which come out with it. All of them are collectively referred to as matrix. So basically when you are digging out ore from or a mineral from the earth, except the mineral, whatever else is present with it is known as matrix. Okay, now this matrix has to be removed, obviously, then you will get the mineral. Now, so that is why we have certain steps which are included, steps of metallurgy. What all do we need to do to obtain the metal? The first thing which we need to do is known as dressing of the ore. Dressing of the ore. Let me tell you all the steps first, then I'll explain you the meaning. Then the second one is concentration of the ore. Concentration of the ore. Third one is conversion of the ore. Conversion of the ore into its oxide. And the next one is reduction. And then we have refining. Alright, now dressing of the ore basically means that when you take out the ore from the earth, then whatever impurities are there, they have to be removed. This can be done just by hand picking. For example, you must have seen your mother before she cooks rice or dal or something. She takes it out in a plate, and then with the help of hands only, she just throws out the impurities or anything other than the grain of the dal or the rice. She just throws it just by hand picking it. So there is no chemical procedure required for the dressing. When you take it out from the earth, if there are some dried up branches or twigs or leaves or some stones or anything which is inevitably not ore, it gets just picked up and thrown out with the hands only. So this process is known as hand picking. This is collectively referred to as dressing of the ore. After the dressing has been done, we try to concentrate the ore. That means whatever earthly impurities are there, they are removed, and we just concentrate the ore to one side so that whatever further treatment is given, that is not a wastage, that is given only to the ore and not to the impurities. So concentration can be done in a number of ways depending upon the type of impurities which are present in the ore. It can be just washed, or we can mix it with some chemical, or we can use a magnet to remove the ore and remove the impurities, whatever. So number of methods are used, but the next step which is done is we concentrate the ore. Then we convert the ore into its oxide. It has been seen from experience that if the ore is in the form of an oxide, it is easier to get a metal because the oxygen part can be removed just by any reducing agent. So we try to convert the ore into its oxide if it is already not in the oxide form. If an ore is already in the oxide form, then this particular step can be ruled out. Then we can omit this step. Straight away after concentration of the ore, we can move to reduction. Reduction basically means removal of the oxygen. So by using a reducing agent, or sometimes only by heating, we can remove the oxygen part and we can obtain the metal. This is the most important step in the metallurgy, because after this we get the metal. The metal which has been obtained after following all these steps is not pure, it is impure. So refining of the metal is done, which is basically purification of the metal. That means after the extraction of the metal, if there are any impurities left in the metal, now it is metal, not the ore. If any impurities are left in the metal, then they can be removed. The process is referred to as refining. Now, according to the reduced syllabus, we just have to restrict ourselves to the metallurgy of aluminium. Alright, so we will follow all these steps and see how the aluminium can be extracted. So, metallurgy of aluminium. Now, before we begin with the metallurgy of aluminium, it is very important to see what are the different ores of aluminium. Alright, now the common ores, or in fact the common minerals of aluminium, there are three of them which are known. First one is bauxite, then we have cryolite, and then we have another one which is called corundum. These are the common names. These are not the scientific names. These are the common names. Alright. Then I'll tell you the chemical name. Bauxite is known as hydrated aluminium oxide. The formula of this is Al2O3.2H2. This is the formula. Cryolite is very important. They ask you in the exam, what is the chemical name of cryolite? So remember this. This is known as sodium aluminium fluoride. Na3Al(F6). Remember, what is the chemical name of cryolite? So you must write this. Corundum is also aluminium oxide, but this one is without water. So this is straight away Al2O3. Now out of these three minerals, bauxite is the one which gives you the aluminium metal most profitably. Alright, so the ore which is selected is bauxite. Now looking at the steps of metallurgy, the first thing we have to do is the dressing of the ore. Dressing, you know, can be done just by hand picking, so there is nothing chemical about it, so we don't need to study it in detail. Concentration of the ore. The first step will be, or the second step will be concentration of the ore. Concentration of the ore is done by a process which is known as Bayer's process. In simple language, it is also known as the chemical procedure, the chemical process, or the chemical procedure. Okay, I'll write procedure. Now here, then the next step is conversion of the ore into oxide. Now we don't need to do this because the ore is already in the oxide state. So this step can be ruled out. Straight away after concentration, we will talk about reduction, and then we will talk about refining. Okay. Now according to the reduced syllabus, the refining also doesn't need to be done, because after the reduction of aluminium, we obtain about 99.5% pure aluminium. So further refining doesn't need to be done. Even after we do the refining, we get the metal which is 99.9% pure, but this metal is required only for very strategic purposes, not normally. Normally whatever the uses of aluminium are, they are that can be done after the reduction has been done and we have obtained the metal of 99.5% purity. So we will only do it up till here. Today I will just tell you about the concentration of the ore. For the concentration of the ore, first of all we must know the composition of bauxite. Beside aluminium oxide, it also contains ferric oxide and silica oxide. So this is the composition of bauxite. Now since we are using the chemical procedure, we must know the chemical property. Out of these, aluminium oxide is amphoteric. What do you mean by amphoteric? The one which can combine with an acid as well as with a base to form salt and water. Alright, so that is why none of them, the other two are not amphoteric. So what we do is, we straight away treat aluminium oxide Al2O3.2H2O, which is bauxite, with NaOH. NaOH is an alkali. They are treated to a temperature of 1100 degrees and it forms sodium aluminate and water. So aluminium oxide is mixed with NaOH. NaOH is an alkali. Because this is amphoteric, it will combine with an alkali and it will form salt and water. The other two will not react with the alkali, and with the result they will just remain in the solution. So this is how the impurities are removed. So since we have used the chemical procedure to remove the impurities, that is why it is also known as chemical procedure. Now this was suggested by a scientist called Bayer. So in order to honor him, in order to give regards for what important suggestion he had made, the entire process is referred to as Bayer's process. Now you have to remember this, children, that the Bayer's process is used for the concentration of the ore. Rather than telling you, they will just say write the reactions used in the Bayer's process. So you must remember how the procedure is going on, what exactly does Bayer's process refer to. So in the first step, we obtain sodium aluminate. In the second step, sodium aluminate is treated with more water and at a temperature little lesser, about the temperature of 50 to 60 degrees. We obtain NaOH and we also obtain aluminium hydroxide. This you all know is soluble. This will dissolve in water. Aluminium hydroxide is obtained by a process also known as seeding. Now I would tell you that what we do is, there is a platform. The temperature of that platform is maintained at a temperature of 50 to 60 degrees. The mixture of sodium aluminate and water is kept on this platform, and this platform keeps on shaking slowly. Alright, when it is shaking slowly, what we do is we hang a piece of aluminium oxide into it. With the result, whatever aluminium hydroxide is there, it keeps on sticking to that piece of aluminium hydroxide. This process is known as seeding. So this will hasten the process. Aluminium hydroxide will be formed a little quickly. By the way, this process goes on, the shaking goes on for about 2 days continuously, and then we obtained aluminium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide gets mixed up in water. Now, then the solution containing NaOH is discarded, and this precipitate of aluminium hydroxide is taken. It is washed once or twice with water, and then this aluminium hydroxide is heated to a high temperature. It is heated to a temperature of 1100, and then we get aluminium Al2O3 and water. Oh, I'm sorry children, this temperature in the beginning is not 1100, sorry, I'm very sorry, 150 to 200 degrees. This one was 1100, I'm sorry. So aluminium hydroxide is heated to a temperature of 1100 degrees. It breaks down into aluminium oxide and water. Now you will say we started with aluminium oxide. Where is the reaction? This one. So we started with aluminium oxide and we are getting aluminium oxide only. But this one was along with the impurities of iron and silica. But now after everything else, all impurities are removed, and this one is pure. This is called alumina. What is alumina? The concentrated form of bauxite is known as alumina. The pure form of bauxite is known as alumina. This is absolutely pure alumina. Whatever further treatment is to be done will be done to this alumina, not to the ore. Okay. So this is regarding the concentration of the ore. That should be all for today. Next time we shall talk about the remaining two processes. All right, children, have a good day.